American Infidel viewers should be aware of who is running the local hospital. If it's run under a Catholic network, then our viewers should beware. Doctors are becoming middlemen more often than not in Catholic-run hospitals. The reason is that these institutions follow the healthcare guidelines of the US Conference of Catholic Bishops. This places superstitious thinking ahead of known good medical science. One case in Arizona highlights the dangers of this problem. A woman 15 weeks pregnant with twins arrived at the Catholic-run Sierra Vista Regional Health Centre. She had miscarried one of them at home and was at the hospital for care. According to court records, Dr. Robert Holder determined that the chances the second fetus might survive were minuscule. Trying to continue this particular pregnancy was risky. The proper course of action was to abort the pregnancy. However, hospital administrators refused to allow the procedure against Dr. Holder's advice and risking the life-threatening complications to the mother. Sierra Vista Regional Health Centre sent the patient to a hospital 3 hours away. But the manipulation and refusal of care goes well beyond abortion. One may find difficulty receiving emergency contraception for rape victims in Catholic institutions. Other oddities include refusing to remove feeding tubes, even though that is specified in a person's living will. What is especially disturbing here is the methodical way that the Catholic Church has begun to restrict access to certain medical services without the use of political might. If it is a Catholic-run hospital, it can refuse chemotherapy and other life-saving drugs on the sole ruling of a bishop. According to data released by Merger Watch, the number of hospitals in America that are affiliated with the Catholic Church increased by 16% between 2001 and 2012. Meanwhile, the number of public hospitals dropped by 31%. Thanks in part to the greater number of Catholic-run hospitals, patients now have to think about the man at the Archdiocese telling your doctor what to do. The highest court within the United Methodist Church recently held its semi-annual meeting in Baltimore. Among the topics discussed was the ever-increasing number of clergy opposing church doctrine on gay marriage. In 1972, the Church had ruled that the practice of homosexuality is incompatible with Christian teaching. The conflict started from then on. Ordained reverends of both sexes are facing formal complaints or must face a church trial for official involvement in same-sex marriages. Reverend Frank Schaeffer of Lebanon, Pennsylvania, will be tried in November for officiating the same-sex marriage of his son in 2007. Others, like Reverend Gordon Hutchings of Tacoma, Washington, and Reverend Sarah Thompson, Tweedy of New York, are also facing complaints. The Book of Discipline, which is the Methodist law book, forbids the ordination of avowed homosexuals. It also bans clergy from holding same-sex ceremonies in its churches or officiating a same-sex marriage. The Church can change its laws, but will not do so until 2016, when it will hold its next quadrennial conference. Many oppose any changes and call for a harsher line. According to United Methodist Program Director at the Institute on Religion and Democracy, John Lamperis feels that clergy are not allowed to choose which laws to follow. Speaking about those who have been involved in same-sex activities, he said, "If there are meaningful consequences, there should be a meaningful healing. If you end up getting suspended or losing your clergy credentials, it might not be so attractive." He went on to say that the Church should not bend to the whims of growing public tolerance for homosexuality. We're not a weather vane. We are actually a global church. We are not seeing these social secular shifts in global Africa. I would see it as ethnocentric for the Church to take its cues from just the American culture. History shows that the United Methodists are willing to change. They once formally supported slavery and racial segregation. They also denied a full role for women. Former church elder Jimmy Creech said that the tide is turning and is happy to see the completely bigoted position of the Church being challenged. United Nations Special Independent Reporter on freedom of religion, Heine Bielefeld, has nothing but praise for religious leaders in Cyprus. The two religions had refused all cooperation with each other for 50 years after the conflict between Greek and Turkish Cypriots caused the country to divide. Recently, Bishop Christophorus of Carpathia was allowed entry into the northern part of the country to worship at the Apostolos Andreas Monastery. Conversely, the Grand Mufti of Cyprus, Talib Atalay, travelled across the Green Line to hold services at the Hala Sultan Mosque outside of Larnaca. UN observer Bielefeld called the religious interaction between Muslim and Catholic leaders a breakthrough in communication. I am very pleased about the recent positive developments and improved climate of inter-religious communication in Cyprus. These may seem like small steps, but they constitute a huge leap for the religious communities concerned, he said. The United Nations has been actively facilitating talks between the two competing religions.
Do you have special talents? Would you like to change the world? Would you like to contribute to the atheist cause? Then why not join AtheismTV? We're looking for hosts for our various shows. A news writer, a video editor, a news anchor, or the host of your own show. Any of these volunteer positions are available for you to leave a mark via the AtheismTV collaboration channel. Now is your chance to shine and make a difference. Contact us today.